YouTube, Matt here, Hollywood's Garage. We're not working on the race car today, but hey, it's a good backdrop for the video, eh? Start off with. Anywho's, today's a video on the old Escalade back there, not the little one, the big one. We're going to be doing what I consider must-haves for the 2015 and up Escalades. This also includes like your anything that's the V8 with the DOD or AFM. DOD is delivery on demand. AFM is active fuel management, where it shuts off 4 cylinders. We're going to do what's called like a band-aid. We're not going to actually properly fix it, where you remove the lifters that have the issues, but we're going to put in a fooler so it always stays in V8 mode. Yeah, you're not fixing it, but you're stopping it from trying to go from V8 to V8 to V4, and like where it lifts the lifters off the lobe so it doesn't ride on those lifters, and there's a spring. So the less moving parts, the better. So it's a band-aid. I mean, we still have 2 years warranty on it, but so we'll put that on and they'll never know. I can remove it. They'll never know it's on there. Just a little module that plugs in. But first thing first is another important thing for any direct, especially direct injection, where they put the fuel right into the cylinder and not in your intake. It's called a catch can. So the catch can, the idea of that is it'll catch whatever oil goes to your PVC system from the crankcase that goes into your, actually it comes from the factory where it goes into your intake and your engine burns it. But the problem is it hits your valves, you know, coats things as it works its way through, and you don't have that injector on top of that valve spraying on it and cleaning the oil off and crud. And the truck's already got 160,000 kilometers, or sorry, the SUV. So yeah, they're probably already caked up, but let's try to stop that now while we can. And then when I go to do an actual DOD delete on it, like I'll probably, you know, put a cam in it, take lifters and stuff, we'll clean those valves off. There's walnut blasting. There's just spraying cleaner on it, letting it soak, and using like a Q-tip almost with a brush on it to clean it and suck it out of the vacuum. There's ways to do it. If you're looking into doing that right now, you can Google it. Legit Street Cars did it on a few of his cars actually in the last couple of months. So he'll show you how to do it, and he's very thorough with it. But for now, we're gonna throw in a catch can. The one I picked up is an Evil Energy catch can. So it's meant for 14 to 18 Chevy Silverado, half-ton, and Tahoe, Bourbon, Yukon. It's also the Escalade, same engine. I haven't even looked to open up the box yet. So you get a cool sticker. Got a bunch of those. So I got Evil Energy on that thing. I don't know if I have Evil Energy on the lifted truck or not, but you got the destructions, your bracket, and the catch can, and some mounting screws. So it's a little unit. So when you first put it on, I recommend checking it after about a couple thousand kilometers, you know, 1,500–1,600 miles, see how much oil's in there. You don't want that to fill up because it'll just suck it like a straw, right? It'll suck it right through the engine. You don't want that. You'd probably get away with it for doing every oil change if you're doing your oil change on like a 5,000 to 6,000 kilometer interval, and not the LIO meter where it tells 10 or 12,000. I recommend changing it every 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers of oil, because that's the dirty oil is what plugs up those AFM lifters too. So just another tidbit for you guys. These things like to burn a little bit of oil because there's such a thin oil in them compared to the old school stuff where they're like a 5 weight or a 10 weight. So what we have, let's look at the destructions here, and we'll see what the first step is. Actually, I have that catch can on that car right now, but that is actually not really going to be going sucked back into the intake. It's just 2 valve covers to that because it's a turboed car, and it just naturally breezes the filters. More of a crankcase ventilation system. Let's go to this side. So you're obviously going to pop the hood. You're gonna end up taking off your air box here. Then you're gonna get to these quick connects. So the reason why I went with this kit is it has a quick connect on it. Let's see it. Let me open this up for you. Right there, those plastic ends, those are already on there. So they just clip right onto the factory setup. So it's honestly like it's plug and play, guys. Super simple, anyone can do it, especially with the instructions here. So let's pop the hood. We'll get this bad boy off, and we'll move on our way through. This cover goes right here. You just pop it off to get to a worm clamp down there. That worm clamp. And then on each side of this, you'll see here and on the other side, you take them off by pressing the gray button and pulling. There we go. Try not to break it. This is from the bottom Might be two-hand job just because. There we go. That's off. Now, let me set you guys up here. Boom. So all this pretty much is this little silencer for sound, where a cold air intake would be a tube, right? And that tube is like it forces the air directly into it, a little louder. This is a big air muffler. And now you can see how kind of dirty that is. Don't poke that. Don't move it. Brake clean on a rag, and you just clean up what you see without touching it. Let's just clean up what we can do, surface, and we'll move on to the next step. There, that's all from inside there so far. Just bring brake clean on the rag. Look at that. I bet you if you open that up and clean it properly, it's even better, but we're gonna leave it at that. So the instructions say for the 6.2 model, you wanna take this hose off. You have two hoses, one connection down there, you got point finger and this one. Take that off. The 5.3s have a different one, but this is a 6.2, so we'll follow that. There we go, take it off. Next, we loosen a bolt back here on this cross member, 13 mil. Make sure it's not okay, the nuts attached to the bracket, that's good. Don't want to lose that. And then you're going to want to mount this to the top of your catch can before mounting it to that, just so you have more room. So you want to mount it like this to the side hoses. I use Loctite on both of those because this will be vibration over time. Plus you got to unscrew that every so often, the drainer, right? So, oh no, box. Anyway, so you're going to mount it. Your hose is untwisted. Oh no. Everything's failing on me. Put that on there. So you can see how it's mounted there. It's on an angle out because that hose is in the way. One thing I did notice is this one got loose a bit, so I'd unscrew it, twist it to tighten it. These are plastic, so just be careful. This is a cheap catch can. It's only $100 off Amazon. So this side says N. There we go. So grab the end. This hose, it'd be better if you had it all warmed up. We'll go into the bottom because you want to go from crankcase in, and the other hose out. We'll go in here because it's sucking it. It's gonna suck from the crankcase, catch can. So in, grab the other one that says out, and put it onto there. Now grab some lubricate or some oil, some clean oil. Put a little bit on those O-rings in there, or if you want, just put it around here because it slides on. You see, no, there we go. Doesn't need lots. Clean oil, like I said, works too. Any type of oil, as long as it's clean. We'll grab the end. Try to be gentle. Find a spot for it. I don't know if you guys can still see. There we go. You hear the click. So grab the out and click. That's it. Now if you want, you can zip tie these together so it's a little cleaner and do what you want. But now you're just gonna reverse it. You're gonna put it all back together. Put your airbox back on. You'll be tightening that worm clamp on the airbox, and then your airbox over here, tighten that clamp, and then put these two back on, one and one, and that's how you mount it. I'll show you when it's done. You got the airbox mounted, so you want to grab wherever the heck it is. I have it jammed. There it is. Clip those back on. Clip. Another thing to note too is, so that's all your oil's going to go in there. It's not very big. They should have made it a bit bigger, but it is what it is. Put some lubricate on these, on here too, like on the threads of the catch can. If I can put you a little closer. On the threads, because there's also an O-ring there. You got to remember that thing's going to sit on there for a while with heat and whatnot. So you don't want to end up wrecking the mount or breaking it with these clips off, trying to mess with it. This will guarantee a nice smooth tighten. It's like an oil filter too. Just want to go hand tight, just an O-ring it's going against. There. Next is the AFM Disabler. You go on Amazon, eBay, any of those. Usually the brand range, what everyone uses, they're like $200. This is like $80, $100 on Amazon. It does the same thing. It's the Kvac device. Open it up, and all you have to do, literally instructions state, disconnect your battery, which I'll have to do still. I just have it kind of ready. And you plug this into the OBD2 under the dash. But I'm going one step further. I got myself a splitter, so 1 into 2. So we'll plug it in right there, the one that's factory. We'll have 2 ends, so we'll have one that can still go into the OBD2 bracket, so you can still plug in and stuff, and then the other one will go into this under the dash, zip tied up out of the way. So you can still hook up to it for reading code, stuff like that, and you don't have to remove this, because every time you install this, the battery's got to be disconnected before you install it, so that way it doesn't mess up the computer. So let's go under the dash. We'll undo the factory OBD2 wire from the bracket. We'll see how we can mount this up. But first of all, let's disconnect the batteries. I think they're just a 10 mil. I'll probably just disconnect both and just throw a rag underneath it so it can't touch. You'll know the battery's disconnected because look at running boards ain't going down. I mean, you can know that by disconnecting the two, obviously. I already moved the seat all the way back before I did that, so I have some room. Grab yourself a 7 mil, undo these two. You know, only lose one, that way you still have one. Now this should pop out. Grab the 2-into-1 splicer, plug in the, I guess, the female end or male end. Learn how what shape goes into what. Plug that in. Now the trick part is the one I got might not be the right bracketry, so I might have to zip tie it up in there. It's like more of a push type style, as you can see, but no big deal, no big deal. I just want to have the range sticking out so the wife kicks it off or something, so we can we'll just zip tie that up. But for the other one, or even this one, plug in your range. Yep, that's nice and tight fit. That ain't going anywhere. We'll grab some zip ties. We'll zip tie this up out of the way, and we'll zip tie this on. This is what I did. I put the 2 screws back in that came out about 3/4 of the way in. Grabbed a zip tie. I kind of S-ed it. So I went above this one, under the wiring harness, and above the other one, and then zip tied it across. So it's kind of squishing it up. Zip tied it up underneath here, and I have it so you can still read the lights on the end of this if you ever need to for diagnosing. So let's hook up the battery, and there should be, I think, 2 lights on, but read the instructions, and then once it's actually in trying to be activated, it'll show all 4 lights and it'll like bypass the V4 mode, but you can literally check that out obviously when you're driving. But let's put the battery back on. Let's start it up. So the instructions say connect the battery and there should be a blue light on before you start it. I had no lights. They said if it didn't, check all your connections, but mine are all super tight. So I actually started the vehicle, and this is what we get. We get 2 blue lights. So it pretty much states after that, start the engine, which we did. When the vehicle started, the instrument panel will show V8, which it does in the blue right there. It kind of does that anyway. I don't know if you can see it. It's when you're driving it, it'll change. Enjoy the running and enjoy the running and unplug the device if you will not drive the vehicle for a few days. There's a bit of a draw on it, but honestly, I bet you can last a week. We got a brand new battery in this. I don't think it'd be that big of an issue. There may be a power draw on the battery in some applications. I think you'll be fine. It's more if it's just for like a week or 2. But so yeah. So after I disconnect my battery, some messages came up. You can see my tire pressures will come back when you start driving, but you had to go through the window sequence. So it asks you to do the driver window all the way down, all the way up. You have to hold it, and passenger. It just sets the soft parameters, so that way if you stick your arm in there, it doesn't shut on you. It just kind of seats it. Other than that, that was the only weird thing. Obviously our hood's open and our door's open. Other than that, it's idling good. We know we didn't mess with the throttle body, didn't reset it or nothing. It's not idling funny. Revs are just fine. So there we go. That's how you install, which are two important things on these Chevys or GMs. It's that catch can, because direct injection. Even if you don't have direct injection, install it anyway. You'll be amazed how much oil gets caught in that thing, especially on like your times when you're like, not the high revving per se, but the low lugging power is when it's hardest on the crank pressures. But and then obviously that it's not, I keep calling it a range, but it's not. It's a Kvac brand. Install that. You can install any brand you want. They all do the same thing. They're an AFM Disabler. I'll put the links in the description for both of these if you're interested in both. I think for both I paid under $200. It's a good peace of mind. And then just keep an eye on your V8 there when you're driving. And I bet you it doesn't go away. Obviously it's more of a highway thing. If you set the cruise like 70 kilometers, 35, 40 miles, it won't change. It shouldn't. What I'll do now is I'll tuck this back up out of the way. Probably zip tie it again just so it's easy to read, so it doesn't fall down on her. But you can see I mounted it. That's the factory one there. I can even zip tie that up even higher, but I put a zip tie there, and that's on there, so you can still do your little plug-in for codes and stuff. And the dealer, actually a lot of them will say to unplug any accessories, so they can still get to that and unplug the main harness from the splitter and still hook up direct. So, well guys, if you have any questions, comments, hit it up. Again, like, subscribe, that all helps, and we'll catch you in the next one.